How are you? This is Nida ma'am and we are into the online classes of Sri Gokulam Public School. I welcome you heartily to my online English class. In the last class we were discussing the story The Bond of Love, and we said in the story we were discussing that the narrator's wife was given a baby sloth bear as a gift that he had got while he went for a hunting expedition in the forest of Mysore, and he had returned home with a baby sloth bear when its mother was accidentally shot by one of his friends. Well, the narrator's wife was immediately in love with the baby bear, and she had christened him as Bruno. He was given food to eat, and quickly he grew up to be a very healthy and a robust kind of a bear. The bear was almost like a family member. It played with the Alsatian dogs and the tenants' children. 2 times the bear had fallen into an accident, but both of the times he was saved. As the baby bear was growing up, he was also becoming very mischievous and naughty. Later on, the narrator's wife had changed his name from Bruno to Baba, which means as a small child in Hindi. It was almost taken up like a small child by the narrator's wife. Such was the affection and the bond between the narrator's wife and the baby bear. But as the baby bear grew up to the grown-up bear, the tenants' children were afraid of the bear, and most of the people in the neighborhood considered it as a dangerous kind of a thing. Soon advices started flowing in from all corners to send the bear to the zoo. Now we will explore further into the lesson to find out what happens to the bear. The narrator's wife was advised by her friends and relatives to send Baba to the zoo. Finally, she agreed, and she sent a letter to the zoo in charge to inquire if they would like to keep a bear at the zoo. When she received a confirmation, Baba was sent to the Mysore Zoo, packed in a cage kept on a lorry. He travelled a distance of 87 miles to reach the zoo. The narrator was quite relieved after Baba was sent to the zoo, even though they greatly missed him. But the situation was not the same with his wife. She was crying all the time and she refused to eat any food. She was completely worried about Baba's well-being. She wrote a letter to the zoo in charge to inquire about Baba, and the reply came that he also behaves quite in a similar manner. From then onwards, thoughts of Baba could not be kept away from narrator's wife. Initially, they thought that after a few weeks or months, she would forget and be accustomed to their normal routines and lives. But there they made a great mistake. The narrator's wife never ever forgot about Baba. In fact, she was missing him greatly, that the tantrums she would do to get connected to him was getting more and more day by day. She would ask all her friends, whoever went to Mysore, to visit the zoo and inquire about Baba. All of them visited because they were greatly insisted or pressed upon, and they came back and told that Baba was okay, but he appeared to be thin and sad. This worried narrator's wife more and more. Finally, after 3 months, she declared that she wanted to meet Baba. If her husband refused to take her, she would go alone to the Mysore Zoo, either by bus or by train. Having left no choice, the narrator took his wife to the zoo. Like everyone else, narrator also thought that Baba would have forgotten his madam. But things were not as expected. Few distance away from the cage, Baba quickly recognized narrator's wife, and she too was so happy to see him. Both of them hugged each other and cried bitterly for a very long time. They remained there for 3 hours. She fed Baba with different things which were his favorites. As it was time for the zoo to close and they had to leave, narrator's wife began to cry out so bitterly as if she was being separated from her own child. Even the zoo in charge was moved by the scene and he felt deeply depressed. Narrator knew what was going to happen next. He started pleading with the zoo in charge to let Baba return with her. The zoo in charge informed her that now Baba was the property of the government, hence she needed to get the permission from the superintendent of the zoo. Immediately the car was driven to the superintendent's house in Bangalore. Reaching there, again the narrator's wife began a tearful pleading. The superintendent, being a kind and a gentle-hearted person, wrote to the zoo in charge that a cage should be arranged for transporting Baba to Bangalore. Back they went to Mysore again. This time they were armed with the superintendent's letter. Baba was put in the cage and the cage was kept on the top of the car. It was tied securely and they returned back to their home. Back at home, in the meantime, some arrangements were being made for Baba to live. Since he had become fully grown and was a threat to the inhabitants around, a secure home was made for him. An island which was 20 feet long and 15 feet wide was built. It was surrounded by a dry pit which was 6 feet wide and 7 feet deep. This was made so that Baba would not move in between the places where the people are living. So it was like an island which was surrounded by a big hole. You might have seen these kinds of arrangements being made in the national zoos. Inside that island, there was a wooden house made which was filled with straw so that Baba could rest inside peacefully. Not only that, his favorite toys like the wooden log that he used to play as like a baby, like a gun, all his toys were also kept over there. When the place was ready, the workers placed the cage on the island and Baba was removed from him. He was so happy to be back at home and free. He started playing with all the things kept over there, and the narrator's wife also spent many hours with the bear as he lay on her lap as if it were her own child. Now Baba lives very securely and happily in the narrator's house. The narrator concludes his story by telling that every day it is such an interesting thing to see how his wife moves about to reach to Baba. Nearby the pit there is a huge tree which have a rope tied on it. She would just hang on to the rope with a loop at one end and kick off with the other. And off she would fly to cover 6 feet long distance in the air to reach the island, almost like Tarzan moving from one tree to another. Then she would also return back in the similar way. It is great fun to see the affection shared by Baba and the narrator's wife. From this story, it is very clearly we can understand that animals also have emotions and they can also make you feel special. So, my dear children, that is the story of the bond of love, a beautiful love relationship between the narrator's wife and Baba, the sloth bear. From the story, we understand that love is an emotion that is understood by each and every living creature on this earth. Love needs no language, love needs no words. It is an emotion felt by the heart, and anybody, anything can feel that. Love is the best means of communication. With love, we can change the world. With love, mountains can be moved. With love, anything and everything is possible. So, on that positive note, let me end today's class. Till we meet again in our next class, I want all of you to work hard and spread love in the world. Thank you and have a nice day.